Don't get me wrong, I love the Z Fold8 Ultra because it's so thin and so light that it's like a regular phone when it's in my pocket, no doubt, and it's very powerful also, as we're about to see. But the Pixel 11 Pro Fold beats the Z Fold8 Ultra in ways that are less to do with specs, but more about its design and how I want folding phones to be. Now, I'm not talking about the new highlight feature. Yes, having a distinctive light at the back for notifications, flashing different colors when your phone's face down on the table is borderline interesting. But as of now, it's still a pretty limited feature. For example, as of the recording of this video, I can only get highlight to work for Google Gemini and not for my contacts list, at least not yet. So I can't decide whether highlight is useful or not, at least not yet. Nonetheless, the following are the reasons why the Pixel 11 Pro Fold makes much more sense to me as a folding device than the Samsung Z Fold8 Ultra. And to balance things out, in case someone says I'm biased, I'm also going to highlight the ways the Z Fold8 Ultra beats the Pixel 11 Pro Fold. So buckle up, links in the pinned comment for their latest prices on Amazon, click here for Shopee, and subscribe for more reviews like this one. Now I'm going to tell you why the Pixel is designed better. First, when it's folded and I'm using it on a flat surface, it does not wobble. I mean, the camera bump is designed not to cause any wobble when it's on a flat surface, whereas the Samsung wobbles like crazy unless you get a cover for it which flattens out the back so that the camera bump is flush with the back of the phone. The second reason is the hinge. Now, while the Samsung's hinge is awesome, when I try to angle it so I can watch videos or have video calls, sometimes it doesn't grip 45-degree angles that well. I did not face any of that issue with the Pixel. I can easily angle the screen 45 degrees or even a bit lower than that. It's very sturdy. Third, when the Pixel's screen's unfolded, it's a bit more comfortable to hold because of the curved bezels, whereas for the Samsung, after holding it for a while, its sharper 90-degree corners starts to dig into my palms, which isn't as comfortable. Fourth, now to me, this is an important one, the Pixel's speakers are on both sides of the device. We've got one speaker on the top part of one half, the other speakers on the bottom of the other half. This way, no matter which orientation the phone is in, you will and can get stereo separation, whereas the Samsung only has the top and bottom speakers on one side. So if you want stereo sound, you must rotate the phone 90 degrees like this. This way you can get stereo, otherwise the sound is only going to come from one side. And as for the sound quality of the speakers, I do think it sounds better on the Pixel. It sounds cleaner, better separated, and its mid-range sounds fuller. Like the Samsung, yes, you won't be getting much bass from these speakers, but it is a smoother sound out of the box compared to the Samsung. Listen to the samples. You're the cure to all my pain. 널 좋아하나 봐. 널 사랑하나 봐. 이제는 더 이상은 숨길 수 없잖아. 내일도 아껴줄 거야. 안아줄 거야. We're meant to be, you can't deny. 내일도 다가갈 거야. 사랑해줄 거야. You're my sunshine after rain. 네가 좋아. And lastly, the Pixel has better thermals than the Samsung. Yes, it is not a graphics powerhouse because it runs on Tensor G6, not the mighty Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor. So even in benchmarks like 3D Mark's 20-minute wildlife extreme test, the Pixel's average frame rate is much lower than the Samsung's. Okay, now the Pixel 11 Pro Fold is on cycle number 17 out of 20. Average frame rate is very low, about 14 to 15 frames per second. Whereas the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold8 Ultra is on loop number 15 out of 20. Frame rate on average is about 25 frames per second. And it's a little hotter at the back compared to the 11 Pro Fold. Right now, when we're so far into the test, their thermals are actually pretty similar, but earlier on, when they were just starting out, the Z Fold 8 Ultra was actually heating up pretty fast, faster than the Pixel 11 Pro Fold. In short, they're gonna be about as hot eventually, but the Z Fold 8 Ultra heats up way faster than the Pixel 11 Pro Fold. Could be the vapor chamber, but it also could be that Tensor G6 is actually more heat efficient than the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor. But what about cameras? Well, although its main cameras don't have as many megapixels as the Samsung's, and I do think the Samsung's photos look a bit sharper and more detailed, I think pictures shot on the Pixel look nicer. The colors look more natural, nicely capturing the golden hues of sunset, whereas the highlights look a bit more blown out on the Samsung. And the Pixel's zoom is nicer because it does have an actual 5 times telephoto, whereas the Samsung starts cropping in after 3 times telephoto because that's what it is, a 3 times telephoto lens element. The Pixel's Super Res zoom algorithm also does a nicer job of patching up crop zooms so it looks smoother, less noisy than the Samsung. That same natural color also applies to videos. From the contrast to saturation, the Pixel looks much closer to what I'm actually seeing in real life, whereas the Samsung looks a bit more exposed in the highlights, and color contrast looks a bit more boosted. The Pixel also has better sharpness, and the Pixel also zooms in a bit further than the Samsung when shooting videos. That being said, videos shot on the Samsung also looks pretty nice. It's got a softer focus, and on their default settings, the Samsung has better stabilization, which is even more obvious when shooting videos zoomed in. You can see that there's a lot more wobble on the Pixel compared to the Samsung. Okay, I'm now using the selfie camera, the external front selfie camera of both the Pixel and the Samsung. On the left, I have the Pixel, and on the right, I have the Samsung. I think the Samsung tends to overexpose a little more, whereas the Pixel's colors, or rather, it looks a bit more contrasty. There's more dynamic range in the clouds. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. Right now, I'm gonna do a close-up on the Pixel. This is 1.4 times on the Pixel. A little closer. And back. Whereas the Samsung doesn't have this option of a close-up using the front selfie camera. Okay, I'm now going to switch over to the internal front selfie camera with both phones opened up. Okay, this is the front selfie camera of both the Pixel and the Samsung. The left side, I have the Pixel, right side, the Samsung. This is using the internal front selfie camera on both devices, both unfolded. This is what it looks like. Look at the sky. Look how different the sky looks. Yeah, you can sort of tell that the Pixel looks a bit more contrasty, whereas the Samsung produces a brighter color contrast compared to the Pixel. So the Z Fold 8 Ultra has better camera stabilization, but it's also better in other ways. We all know it's a thinner, more powerful device with better graphics processing for games. Screen's also a little brighter, and I like the way I can customize the lock screen on One UI. But I also like that it's a much better multitasking machine. For example, I can organize the different apps I've opened into split screens or windows. Up to 7 can be on the screen at the same time, and it wouldn't break a sweat. The Pixel does have multitasking also, but it does multitasking a bit differently. It allows up to 2 apps split screen and up to 5 apps in bubble mode, which has to be dismissed if you want to use the existing split screen apps. This is probably to optimize for limited screen space, but I would have liked it better if I could easily convert bubble apps into a split screen window. Not as much flexibility as what the Samsung's got with its multitasking. The Samsung is also more customizable sound quality wise because it's got a graphic EQ and a global Dolby Atmos setting. This gives me the option of more spacious audio using its speakers, earbuds, or headphones. From an audio perspective, this gives the Samsung a slight edge, even though out of the box, the Pixel speakers sound better. So those are the reasons why the Z Fold 8 Ultra is better than the Pixel. But as we saw, there are more than a few compelling reasons to go for the Pixel 11 Pro Fold instead. That is in spite of its less impressive graphics processing and fatter size compared to the Samsung. Comment down below which one of these phones would you pick. And as always, links in the pinned comment if you want to check the latest prices on Amazon. And for more reviews like this one, get subscribed and tap the bell button to stay notified. I've also reviewed the smaller, cuter Samsung Z Fold 8. It's making waves everywhere. In fact, Samsung had to increase production by 10 million units or something like that to meet demand. Yeah, very popular phone. Check it out. What I think about it over here.